contact.
Now remember, they were together in the last race, and Heimgartner's going to be turned here in front of the pack. He grabs a Red Bull car. There's chaos in Darwin. And to the rear of the field goes the Red Bull car.
It's like
now, that is
opener.
Percat's car with the door plucked open. Lowndes is the leader. So Whincup in the wars. There's Percat with half the side of the car ripped off. What a mess. And Heimgartner with a damaged front right steering arm on that car parked off to the side of the road.
How's that bloke won anything?
Like I said a moment ago, there's
safety car boards
no
and flags,
shortage of emotion. So the safety car, the Lexus RCF safety car, will be deployed again. And it scrambles in front of us. This is Lee Holdsworth. Huge damage on the front of that car.
Go, 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 go.
Look at this. This is Percat.
With an open wheeler.
Is the door gone, or is it still hanging on there? Peeled it off like a can opener.
That's the side intrusion, a panel on the side of the car. So there's a little bit of bumper assembly as well. And that's Andre Heimgartner, 20 years of age, Kiwi, out of the car in a punch-up on the racetrack with Jason Bright in that last event. And there's the door peeled open on the Percat mobile. And clearly he'll be in this lap.
Signaling to the boys that he's peeling in. So we're under safety car here once again at Darwin. Let's have a look at this here again. Replay the start.
So Rick got a good jump, and then it was a game of chicken at turn one. Here it is again from the other angle. And everybody always dives down the inside because they want to either take an opportunity to pass or alternately they're covering. The problem is there's no grip, and lucky Shane Van Gisbergen bailed out of that one, but there's no way that Rick could stop with cold brakes, cold tyres on the dirty side of the road. And then both he and Fabian are gone for all odds out there, and it was a huge tour of the paddock for Fabian. A bit of wheel spin in the shift to second gear, but he had him covered here. And he's trying to ease him across, but he didn't quite get it done. Oh, he actually got tagged. I didn't realise there'd been contact. So that's very important information for us there. He's got the new car blues, hasn't he? Now, this was the aggravation between Will Davison and Andre Heimgartner, which then grabbed Jamie Whincup. Lee Holdsworth just was a victim in that process in car number 18. Here's the super slow-mo, so contact there between Will and Andre. Here's Jamie right behind, nowhere to go for him. And then Nick Percat crunches into the back of Whincup. They're all trying to figure out what Andre's going to do. That's damage on Whincup's car. Rips the door off Nick's car. Lee Holdsworth, nowhere to go. Bam for him. Rick Kelly, who's also trying to thread back into the game, he suddenly found a wall of cars up here at turn 10. Another angle from above. Pretty solid contact, that. Big traffic jam at the back, and then Fabian Coulthard trying to also figure out whether there's an opportunity to grab a couple of guys on the way. And look at the guys in at Red Bull Racing. So straight away, just in the background. Oh, big contact between Dale Wood and David Wall, and they're off at 5 together. And we've got Blanchard in the pit lane as well. That's confusing to see them coming back on at that angle, isn't it?
Shortcut. How much damage is there to the 34 and the 21? Are they okay to continue? This will clear up what happened earlier when Neil was talking about Caruso dropping some spots. So Pye gets around Mark Winterbottom, and then we go to this particular replay here.
That's what I spoke about before in the high-speed S's in the run to 5. It's really easy to lock wheels together, particularly when you're moving those front wheels around, steering through. Meantime, at the other end of the circuit, this has only just happened, and now we've got a bit of action between the Erebus teammates. So Ash Walsh and Will Davison, what is it? Within teams at the moment. So that's a picture that Ryan Madison is not going to enjoy in that garage. So Ash Walsh gets into the side of Will Davison, And around goes Will. Friendly fire.
In fact, moved into second position. Great job by Scott McLaughlin. Look at the way that Van Gisbergen is hustling here too, fighting with Andre Heimgartner as they work through turn 2. Someone's off. It's Todd Kelly in the Jayco Altima. But as they run down, the fast-starting Mark Winterbottom has them. And look at Mostert here, getting it back on McLaughlin.
McLaughlin must have run a little wide through 2, and it's left a gap for Chaz to go back up the inside. Van Gisbergen, a beautiful start as well. He quickly jumped into gear and got away cleanly. Todd Kelly at the back of the pack after an off.
Oh, McLaughlin.
Looking for the crisscross. Meantime, Winterbottom's just bolted down the road. That's the gap that he'll be very pleased with. When he comes out of turn 6 and has a little look in that rear view mirror, he will be very relieved. Look at Van Gisbergen racing and a little crossed up. He makes contact. Can't really afford to go by with a bump and run, or he might cop a penalty. He might need to redress that one.
It's a long way to go.
It'll depend on whether he... There's also an oil flag showing down there at the moment. That'll be for the dust and dirt that Todd Kelly brought on. It'll depend on whether or not Shane thinks he was crossed up before he got there as they argue that one out. That one will be a line ball called. Pressure on race control. It's on again, though, down the back straight. Here comes Mozzie on the inside. Heimgartner's in for the bye as well. And Lowndes watching, looking around the outside goes Van Gisbergen. It's on, nose to tail, bump and grind. Lowndes is all crossed up. Courtney's in here too, and Reynolds. Courtney will prevail. Off the road, though, for Mostert. Had 2 in the dirt that time as Van Gisbergen clears him.
Was there some bodywork or something that came off Mostert's car there? Look at the damage to Jason Bright's Team BOC Commodore. Slammed the front end, all pushed back toward that windshield. We go back to David Reynolds, who's ahead now of Andre Heimgartner, one of the Nissan.
And early in the race there you see Heimgartner up the front end, and then as the first few laps unfolded, he just ended up in the wrong space at the wrong time. And there is Todd Kelly going around. And it looks like that was Jason Bright that made contact with him. Just looking to the right-hand side of that picture at the moment. Yeah, so actually, I think Bright was a victim who was further down the order, and then they all did the concertina trick. Look at this stuff going on here between Mostert, who nailed the styrene sign, and Van Gisbergen. That was actually an easy one for Shane. There's more stuff here on board with David Reynolds out of 3.
Oh, that was from Mostert when he went through. I wondered if it was bodywork. Here's the damage to the BOC Commodore, and just to Neil's point there, I think there may have been something involving Dale Wood ahead of Bright's car, and when that's unfolded, it's had a bit of a concertina. He's had nowhere to go, so what a shame for Bright.
Geez, tough start to that race. I want to make sure that you're okay, and it looked from the replays like you were just an innocent victim.
Well, I'm not sure what happened up in front. I saw Todd going off to the left, and Wally just seemed to hit the brakes, unexpectedly. I sort of thought we were all through on the inside there, and yeah, it's done a fair bit of damage. The guys are going to have the work cut out to get it out this afternoon.
Bad luck, Jason.
Pretty disappointing for him. He had a
pretty good looking run. If Slipko can finish with a flourish, we may have a new leader.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, man. He lands hard on the left front, knocks the tire off the bead.
Well, we want to show you this all right, and there's a reason for it. This is it right here.
Gas, boy. Oh, and he broke it. Looks like he broke a shock or something. The gas shot out of the back of that thing. Probably
is because she is a wild freestyler. And look at her. She has no fear. She has no fear.
Oh, and she broke the truck. She broke something in that left rear. Actually, big speed. Hit another one of these jumps and put on a show for these guys. Now, keep your eyes on the right rear. There it goes, man. It was broke off. And what had happened is he had broken it off. Come back to center by itself. And again, once again, you see he's having a problem. And that's going to put him in trouble. Oh, man, what a beautiful thing. I thought he was going to pull it out, Scott.
Couldn't pull it out. He gave it everything he had to say. Use the equipment. Here he goes. Launching it. Going the other way over that forward. Bill Ford's up. Now he's over. He's over. He's flipped it, and he flipped it with 40 seconds left on the clock. That is not going to beat Mintz. View so far for the...
Oh, yeah! Maybe he did. Oh! Over
through it, Miller. And Bobby Sack, we've lost Randy Ruhlman.
Boy, oh boy, and he was having a great run. He's trying to refire the car. That's just raw gas and hot exhaust pipe. He got it. That's coming out of turn one, that is, right there.
Now, is there damage? Too much damage on the front?
I don't think so. I think because, look at the width of the track right here, too. I mean, tremendous area in here where you can really slow the car down by a long slide.
Got replay off tape here. Talk us through, Bill.
All right, as he's come, well, now I wonder if he got tapped. That's pretty unusual, and he was sideways very early on. Is that a little bit of damage? Hard to tell.
And the front end looks good. Randy Ruhlman is back at it, but has lost a lot of places. What a shame. He was running 5th. He was elevated to 3rd at the last race after Tommy Dreese was excluded from those results. So that was his season. Hunt is out of the race. You don't need to do anything silly. Oh, and Bob Ruhlman's gone.
Oh, boy.
Bob Ruhlman has spun on the outside of turn 1. Facing back down the track there. Through goes Paul Menard.
And I would venture this is going to be another pace car because that's a fairly dangerous position. He is facing right down the straight. Oh, no, another one. Tire lost.
And that looks like, is that Eben? I think that is Eben, the 68 car. Cliff Eben. Maybe he and Bob came in contact in turn 1.
I wonder.
See, that's coming.
That's the straight between turn 1 and 2.
I think there's been contact here. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly it.
Cliff Eben and Bob Ruhlman got together. And here comes Cliff to a halt.
Able to keep going for a little while, but...
And we've lost 22 as well.
Ah, gee.
So problems there for Brian Kabinski.
Everybody partying at once.
And yes, we are under full course caution.
Well, they have to because particularly at the end of the straight, the cars are going down there at 170. If anybody had a brake failure, you'd go right straight through and hit that car sitting in the sand trap. Sand strap, I can't say it right. Sand trap, golfing.
And there's Brian Kabinski. He's come to a standstill as well. So our 3rd full course caution of this race. We'll do a bit of a cleanup. And then we'll have 3 laps to run when we return. So a lot happening here at Road America, round 8 of the Trans Am Series, and we're set for a very exciting finish.
Oh, trouble.
Hold on.
J.J. Pack in trouble in the 06. Sam Fallone had to keep that car in line, almost got in trouble, but it is the 06 of J.J. Pack, the Hilo Air Chevrolet. That car is really used up on the front, Scott.
Well, that is one of the dangers right here at South Boston, is when a car gets crossways, there is very little room, and everybody starts rolling up. It's usually a big wreck when we get one crossed up like that. They did a great job just getting around him.
Part-time scheduler in 2004 for this weekend. And trouble, here is Whitaker in trouble. Now, Johnny Rumley apparently has gone around. Rumley in trouble out of turn 2. Spun to avoid Mark Whitaker's machine, the Universal Dental Chevrolet. And look at Rumley trying to get that car back underway before the leaders get back around. So Rumley back underway after a spin. Let's take a look on board with Johnny Rumley as to what went on and transpired to cause this caution. And just Mark Whitaker right ahead. Rumley nowhere to go.
Well, one went down. Leader goes up, Benny Gordon. He really couldn't follow Benny. He got in the brake so hard. There's a lot of rear brake in this car.
Oh, trouble. Jeff Agnew in trouble. Second place car. Second time we've seen that this afternoon. Jeff Agnew spins the NGA Hooters Golf Tour Chevrolet. Caution is out for the 6th time this afternoon. Let's get a replay. Let's take a look and see what happened to Agnew. Gets the car back underway. Does not lose a lap. Replay coming your way. Let's see what Jeff Agnew. That happened to that race car. And Scott?
Well, it's just what happened a little bit earlier. It got a little bit loose, only this time it got a lot loose. It's down there on the flat. You go down on that flat and you try to go all the way to the throttle, all the way to the floor with it, it's going to get loose. It's just a matter of whether can I hold it or not.
Agnew headed to the pits. We'll be back for more with South Boston in just a moment. It's his way into 5th position. In trouble with the 3 car of Whitaker. Oh, hard shot to the inside. Double shot to the inside wall, but damage was already evident on the Whitaker machine. Universal Dental Chevrolet really showing a lot of damage to the left side there, Scott.
Well, the key is there was damage to the right front corner to begin with, and as soon as we can get over here, have them guys re-rack it so we can watch the replay. You're probably going to see the damage to the right front, probably broke the tie rod. You can tell when he came across the racetrack, he really couldn't steer the thing, and it probably wouldn't woe up, probably broke the brake line. You step that brake pedal all the way to the floor, and there's nothing you can do but hold on.
Whitaker moving inside the machine, has not yet dropped the window net. There is the window net coming down. Let's take a look at this incident that has brought out the most recent caution with Mark Whitaker. Look back. Here's Whitaker in turn one. Looks like the car was crossed up.
Well, you can see that right front was folded all the way underneath. That means that the tie rod was already broke. He had a little bit of contact with the left side wall. Now it's going to come around. He's trying to get that thing back down the pit road. No. And the front brakes did lock up, so he did have brakes, but he did not have any steering control.
Mark Whitaker, window net down. Looks like he is okay.
Mark, first off, you punched the wall pretty hard. You all right?
Man, I punched it twice. That was pretty hard hit. I don't know what it looked like. Damn, it hurt. But I didn't have any control at all coming in there. Something happened to the left front, and I was out of control. I mean, it was just going where it wanted to go.
Whitaker out of his machine, headed back to the trailers, as is his car. We'll be back with more from right here at South Boston Speedway. Ship on that Ford. Certainly, oh, look out, trouble down the front straightaway. 48 car, Sam Pallone into the inside concrete. Scott looks like he's used up both ends of that race car.
Wow. And you know, the young man had a great run going here today.
Barrel Vegetable sponsorship on that race car. And Pallone has the leader, Danny Salmons, bypass him. It's not going to make any difference. That car headed to the pit area for some extensive rework. Doesn't appear that he compromised the radiator at all, Scott. Looks like the car able to come down pit road under its own power. No fluid coming out from beneath. There's Marty Lindley. Looks like he got a little bit of damage in that melee. Chad Mullis directly ahead. Got to wonder if maybe they didn't get together. Look at the front end on Fallone's race car. Heavily used up. Let's see if we can get another look at what happened to Sam Fallone out of turn 4 on the restart. From our speedy camera angle, Fallone on the inside line. He was a lap down, but didn't look like anybody behind him would have got into it.
Well, anything can happen. You can miss a shift or the car just get a little bit loose and just a tag. Pow! Oh, everybody checked up. Marty Lindley could not get checked up fast enough. Got in the back of Chad Mullis. Really tough on this team to get back up there and be competitive now. Ooh.
Marty Lindley's car getting some repairs to that right front. Get that back underway, duct tape and... Oh, trouble. Matt Carter in trouble. Fourth caution of the evening, and Matt Carter, it's like some contact with the inside retaining wall. Would believe that is primarily cosmetic, but we'll have to see what happens here. Carter gets the car back underway and does so just before our leader bypasses him, so Carter stays in the lead lap.
Well, he had slipped back to 6th position, and he was racing there with Mike Laughlin Jr., and evidently they were, getting racing pretty hard there. His car is probably not really what he wants right now.
Here's another look out of turn 4. Can't really tell what put Carter around, but nonetheless, he's on the binders. May have made some contact lightly with the right front of the car, but the right rear really took the damage.
Looks like the 7 car just barely caught the back end of the 22 and got him turned around.
So Matt Carter damaged that rear quarter panel. The deck lid is pushed up. How much difference is that going to make? Is this a track where that spoiler really makes a difference, Scott?
Oh, this place is so loose, you've got to have the air on the back of this race car. Steven is down there in the 22 car. What do you got?
Mike Hester and the crew await on pit road for the 22 car of Matt Carter. They just want to check over this, Gene, make sure they don't have any serious damage. They've got some damage on the tail end of the race car. Of course, on a half-mile racetrack where you average over 90 miles an hour, that rear downforce does have an effect. You don't want to lose that. So they've got the tape out. They're going over that. And, of course, Matt Carter had some terribly bad luck last time we raced at this racetrack as well. He led the race all the way through the final corner of the final lap, and he went from 1st to 4th. And by the way, that 4th place is still his best finish of the year.
So Carter down and away, some of that tape applied, and you're right, Stephen, that was some bad luck, but it was good luck in another sense because that was the only car unscathed in that wild finish here. Here is the black number 7 of Mike Laughlin Jr. down to pit road. Let's head back down to Stephen for this report on the Tucson Ford.
So Mike Laughlin will come down pit row. It's a quick stop. This is a penalty. He'll take a quick chassis adjustment while he's down here, but Mike Laughlin came down for this penalty. It was assessed under a black flag by USAR in recognition of what they saw called a rough driving with the 22 car. Now you guys, I don't know, roll the tape back, Scott, you tell me.
Looks like Mike Laughlin Jr. got into the back of Matt Carter just a little bit, got him loosened up, got him around, so that means he has to go to the back of the longest line for the restart, but yet he can come in and make an adjustment, and where we go, we'll sort it out when we come back.
And if he can keep this forward
whoa.
Forward progress becomes reverse progress for Bill Manfull. Manfull goes for a slide in the 30 car, caution out once again. Happening out of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Manfull gets the car restarted and underway. This car with some advice from the short track veteran from down in Florida, Jimmy Cope, back underway. So Manfull brings out the caution in the Atkinson Realty and Auction Chevrolet. Caution yet again here this evening at Peach State Speedway. Been a flurry of cautions of late. Manfull off the corner just all by himself. Looks like the car swaps ends.
Well, it got a little bit loose coming off turn 2. That's typical of this type of racetrack. We're almost to 100 laps. These tires are starting to feel a little bit of wear. We're probably going to see some. He's a little bit off.
Trouble!
Oh.
Stuart Rick's in trouble in the 70 car. Looks like some right front damage on the Bell & Bell Olds GMC Pontiac Grand Prix, and also in it is Chad Docken. The Pinch-A-Penny Pool Supply 73 also heavily damaged on the right front. And apparently the word we're hearing is that Docken in this 73 car got into the back of Shane Huffman's 84. So Huffman showing a little damage on the rear bumper cover. Bumper pushed in a bit, but Chad Docken, heavy damage to the front of this race car. And Scott, looks like maybe it may have damaged the oil cooler, some fluid beneath the 73 machine of Docken.
There is fluid all over the place, especially coming in on pit road, and that's going to be a heck of a mess. We're going to have to get that cleaned up before we can even let these guys come down pit road, or we're going to have oil all up and down.
Another look at it. Stuart Ricks up into the outside wall down the back straightaway. Pretty quick snap of that car to go up in the outside wall like that, but behind it, there is Docken trying to get woed down, and Shane Huffman was there. Docken having to use trouble.
Oh,
Michael Rich in trouble.
Well, Michael slapped the wall coming up off turn 2. The car got a little bit loose, got into the wall, hit with the nose, and then Don Satterfield couldn't miss Michael, and then he went to the high side. In other words, his left side door hit the wall and skidded down the outside retaining wall all the way down into turn 3.
Looks like the damage extends all the way to the radiator as fluid leaking out of the front of the Hawk Saw Blade Greenville Tech Chevrolet. So Don Satterfield out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. And yes, indeed, heavy damage to the front end of that car. Radiator is compromised for Satterfield. We were inside, 5 laps to go. Bring this race to a finish here at Peach State Speedway, the Pep Boys 250. Bobby Gill has had command, but now Buggy Pletcher in the 51 car, he's been moving up through the field. He'll line up second for the restart.
Wow, you know what this sets up? This is a single file restart. All the lap cars go to the rear. Where does that put Shane Huffman at with them brand new tires, or those relatively new tires?
Single file restart, lead lap cars in single file ahead of those cars, 1 or more laps down, and we're getting close. It could come down to our green, white, and checker, so a sprint race to decide it here tonight. Under caution, see Mike Laughlin Jr. in that 3rd spot. He's been pretty stout as well. The Rogers boys 4th and 5th. Looks like Jimmy Knoll able to get the 11 car back underway. And there's Derek Kelly. He apparently got a little bit of the action as well. The right front fender of the 00 pulled out and the headlight door damaged on that race car. Does not look like it is interfering with the right front tire at all, Scott.
Yeah, but I think they're going to come in and they're going to pull that thing apart best they can.
Hey, pick up your copy of Hooters Magazine at your local Hooters restaurant. Coverage of the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series, IHRA Drag Racing, and the NGA Hooters Golf Tour, along with many more articles inside your Hooters Magazine. Available only at your local Hooters restaurant. Hooters girls greeting some of the crowd and signing some autographs as we get set for...
I didn't see you saw it on our
versus non-stop. An accident has brought out the caution for the first time. There is Vitor Mira, and there is the front end of Elio's car.
And we had the opportunity. What you don't have on versus non-stop is audio. We were riding on board with Elio, and he started backing out of the throttle because the cars were starting to bottle up ahead. And all of a sudden, Vitor slowed, and pow, right into the back was Elio Castro Neves, who obviously has got big-time damage on the front.
But they should, with Elio, they should be able to replace that whole nose section. I bet nothing else is damage on that car because he just kind of center punched him and got the wing. So he should be okay if they can get in and out of the pits without losing a lap.
Now listen to this.
He's on the gas. There it is.
Okay, the timing on the audio was a little bit different than when we were listening to it in real time, but now Viso with his view.
And
he picked up.
Yeah, he lost a right front wing.
And both of those guys had moved up nicely.
Okay, here we're watching. Boy, he just really checked up there all of a sudden.
Because down on the back straightaway, I just was noting here that because of the wind, he got the wind, he got the air taken off the front of the car, and he had to lift, and that dramatically slowed his progress, and it caused a chain reaction.
And when he lifted there and then went up the track, did you see the rear of the car just had that little wiggle?
Elio had moved up to 13th, Viso 14th, and Franchitti 15th. But he has damage to that car, and Robbie Floyd, he is headed toward you.
Well, I'm down on pit row, but when you guys were talking about how he just ran up and made up that time, Elio's, they are changing that nose piece. But one guy that I talked to before the race started was Mike Conway. He's a rookie. He's going to tell you some things that maybe some of the veterans don't even think about. He said one of the biggest differences is when you did get that wind taking off of your nose, it is so drastic. It is a serious charge into the guy in front of you. And that was the one thing that he told me, probably the biggest thing to notice. And it was a rookie telling me, not none of the veterans, but a rookie said it really takes the wind off of you and you close up some.
He was in 15th, and we have a caution. That's Rafael Matos, who has had contact with the wall, it would appear. Maybe not very much, but it's enough to bring out the caution.
Well, you could see his suspension. Look at the little bow in the suspension there. So definitely ding the wall somewhere enough to take that suspension, and that will be, he'll be able to bring it home to the pit lane, but that will end his day. Being told he white-walled it in turn 4.
He was running in 13th position, by the way, in the U.S. Air Force car for Lusso Dragon Racing.
Ron Marias looking back at, ooh, look at the wiggle, wiggle, chasing it.
Oh, yeah.
That's called chasing it up the track. Wiggle, wiggle, chase it up the track.
From another angle, just brushes the safer barrier, but enough to do some rather significant damage.
I don't think I put that in the brush category. That gets
that was a hit, huh?
That's a hit for me. That's a hit.
Right. He has made it to his pit box, and now they assess the damage.
You also saw Graham Rahal. Oh, Dario in the wall.
Now let's see where Briscoe is with regards.
Oh, he's already in.
He's always committed, and he wasn't to the pit lane line, so he's probably going to have to do a drive-through and then come back in.
Our points leader heading into this event by virtue of his win last Sunday at Long Beach is in the wall, and Brian Briscoe will go on through the pits.
Good call. That was a good call, Robbie. They saw the yellow. They waved him through, not allowed to service the car.
And the rules there is we saw Briscoe already on the entrance to pit lane in 3. Then the incident happened, and if it went yellow when he got to the start or the timing line of the pit road, then you'd be okay. But since he was just outside that, bad luck, too bad.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to drive through. That's just bad luck.
Here's the thing, though. He had peeled off to pit way before Dario ever hit the wall. Thankfully, Dario looks like he's A-okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, we go into competition mode immediately thinking, okay, who's going to pit? But the great news is that Dario Franchitti is A-okay after a big hit.
He did take a big hit. Let's see what we can determine what happened here. Mentioned that he was in a 3-car battle.
So Graham does. Oh! He's going for the pits. He's going for the pits and gets on the brakes and almost runs into the back of Rahal. Woohoo!
Was he going for the pits?
Yeah.
Or did he just think he was going to follow him down there and come back up? And just that transition, he's like, oh no, I don't want to go to the pits.
I think he's going for the. Remember how we talked about in the whole weight jacker piece that when you get on the brakes and you're not on the banking, yeah, it just locks it. See, he was going to slow behind Graham Rahal and said, I'm going to hit him. And he took avoiding action, and he took one into the wall instead of going into the back of Graham Rahal.
He was coming with a lot of speed. And you're right, though. If what we saw there is we saw that left front locked up. So obviously, when you got a lot of weight to the right or the left, you're going to lock up the light wheel. He's locked it up. But even before that, it looked like to me he was carrying too much speed to get slowed down.
Remember how we talked about how important in-laps and out-laps? That was Dario Franchitti really wanting to maximize. But now, let's go to the payday. Lindy?
Scott Dixon bringing in the number 9, getting tires and fuel. Mike Hull just told him over the radio, this is your last stop to get us home. As far as the car, everything. All right, down to Robbie.
And as we look for Scott Briscoe making his way into the pits, Roger Penske was upset. Ryan Briscoe was upset about it, that yellow coming out. I'm quite sure his first time to this track was back in 05. A broken clutch kept him from a chance at victory. But guys, that yellow might have hurt him today, or it definitely hurt him today.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a nice quick stop, but of course he had peeled off. Before we saw Dario Franchitti come flying up behind and make that crash, Ryan Briscoe had already peeled off, so he had made his decision to pit. But like I said, Robbie, if you don't cross the line before the yellow comes on, it's just sorry.
And pit in is in 3. That line is all the way at the exit of 4, and you just got to go around that warm-up lane. That's, when you're in that area on these super speedways, sorry, too bad, bad luck. Let's take one more look at it here.
It's also worth noting, remember, that they don't ever use the brakes when you're on the track at speed. So Graham Rahal slows and gets on the brakes, and look at this. A little bit later, Dario Franchitti gets on the brakes, and it just won't stop. And instead of just plowing into the back of Rahal, he turns right.
And that's what it is he pulled off. I'm going to go the brake pedal last minute, went to the brakes hard, and instantly locked up that left front. As soon as he did that, the car almost even accelerates. Everything he wanted from stopping power.
Is waving, welcome aboard, everyone, on versus. There's the green flag, and we are underway at St. Pete. The battle toward turn number 1. Look at this, 5 wide as they head in there. Who's going to come out ahead? Oh, a nice move by Dario Franchitti. And we have the pole sitter Graham Rahal sideways in turn 1.
And he was hit. He was hit on the left rear. It was Dario Franchitti, and the green car came up the inside. Very aggressive. Oh, it looked like Mike Conway off to the right, also in trouble. Wow, a bump to the inside of Graham Rahal.
And sure enough, that is the dad's car, the DRR car. I don't know if there's damage on there. We haven't seen all the way around it. I'm sure as heck hoping there's no damage. They can get him back and running and doesn't go down a lap.
Wow, what a auspicious start to the season. That is Justin Wilson in the number 19 car for Dale Coyne, the Sunny Barbecues machine that is out in the lead, but we do have a full course caution. We're on board with Dario Franchitti, who has moved up to second spot.
And Dario was super aggressive going down into the first corner and pulled off that move perfectly, but right behind him there was definite contact on the right rear of Graham Rahal.
Looks like that Mike Conway will be able to get a restart and head for the pit area. Here's the replay of what happened as they went into turn number 1.
So we're on board with Dario. Now watch him go to the inside, down. He tucks back in. Oh, there is Dario. Sorry, we weren't on board with Dario. We just saw him go through. And that was not Dario that hit.
No, I didn't think it was, but what it was Dario made that great move to the inside, and we were on board with Tony Kanaan and saw the contact. So Tony Kanaan is the car that came in, and right there got the back of Graham Rahal and Alex Tagliani. For a Bronco ride right over the nose.
And did you see how close it was that Franchitti just slid across the nose of Graham there?
Woo! Down to the pit area, Robbie Floyd.
And guys, I can't emphasize enough that Brian Barnhart said emphatically that 2 out of the past 4 races that there were crashes going into that first turn. Be careful. Watch what you're doing. Don't go in there exactly like we just saw. He made that point out there. He's upset about it because he made sure to say that. Don't do exactly what they just did. Jack?
Well, Robbie, now is the time when you have to play a little Dr. Phil with your driver, and that's exactly what the crew for the McDonald's team is doing. Graham Rahal, who is on the backstretch trying to limp his way back to pit road, is very, very upset. He said, "This is the beginning of the race, and somebody just punted me." And very quietly and very resolutely, they said, "Look, calm down. It's a long race. It's a full course yellow. You're not going to lose a lot of time. And they ended it with something that maybe made him smile just a little bit. Said, remember, you spun early in the race last year. And he was deathly silent on the radio.
Now, do these laps count on the red tires?
They count as yellow, but you have to have 2 green, and there was not 2 green. So if you pitted now, it wouldn't fulfill the requirement.
Here's the incident at the very beginning of the race. The race to turn number 1 resulted in Tony Kanaan and Graham Rahal making contact.
And if you saw Tony Kanaan, he's the one that bumped Graham, but Tony got up on the inside and got somebody. He kind of he's forced into the curbs. Look at Tony. See Tony get up on the bumps? Yeah. He was on the brakes, and when Tony hit the bumps, the front wheel came up, and you could see where it was locked. So he just couldn't get locked down, and there's the dad's car getting just.
I think that was Dixon.
Right across.
I think Scott Dixon was the one that got into Mike Conway. This is the move I was talking about that I think is fantastic. Dario does the move of the century and doesn't touch anyone, but unfortunately, just like you talked about, Tony Kanaan got across the curbs. As soon as he hit the curbs, it's going to change your trajectory. This is who I think got into your driver, Robbie. Let's see if that's the contact.
And no, it wasn't. There was somebody
another car in between
on the left of Dixon that, that hit Mike Conway and shot him right across the front. Wow, a lot happening.
Down to Robbie once again.
Well, guys, it looks like we have nose damage for Tony Kanaan's car. They had to change the nose. He went back out on blacks, but you can see the damage. The whole team's just shaking their head. They hope that didn't happen, and it's exactly what happened, guys. But they did have, you see the damage on the front of his car. You don't now because he's has the new nose. But and they did go back out on blacks, so kind of surprising. Not that they had the reds ready here on the edge, but they didn't go back out. But see the damage all on that left side. A lot of broken carbon fiber, Jack.
Yeah, Robbie, you talk about carbon fiber. How about a nose? It's about $35,000, and that's the case. Graham Rahal from that punt, you can see the damage to the nose. But why did they have to change it? Look over here. Everything else is intact. It's the side plate that caused Graham Rahal to have to come in. They got to get that downforce.
And that's because Alex Tagliani came across and drove right over that nose.
Full course caution as you rejoin us here at the Honda Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Rafael Matos has a very badly damaged race car. This is the Lusso Dragon team, and there is damage at the front and the back of that machine.
But look, here's the telltale sign. There's a tire mark on the side pod, meaning that someone hit him and put him in that position. Now, of course, that could have happened in the first turn at the start, but certainly looks like he had side-to-side contact with another car. Great to see him get out. That's a big wreck.
It is, and that is the fastest section of the track in terms of a corner. You got that fast 11, 12, fifth gear flat out, and now we're at Marias. This is over in turn 4, where obviously he's had some damage. And there's
Danica Patrick.
Wow.
All kinds of stuff going on
those
here.
Those are absolute independent incidents. It just so happened it all happened on that same lap, but on 2 totally different sections of the racetrack.
It all began when Alex Tagliani had a problem. Well, let's go back, and here's Danica with Stanton Barrett going around him cleanly.
Looking back at Rafa right there. There's Rafa looking down the inside. And there's that tire mark, Jan, that you just circled earlier.
There's the tire mark. But where's Danica's car? Because...
Danica took as hard a hit as anybody.
Wow.
Man.
Thank goodness for those tires.
Oh, man, that is a big wreck.
Wow. Well, obviously, Danica just, Rafa looked down the inside.
Now, before that, there was this incident that flattened the right rear of Tagliani.
Those wing end plates, you make contact with the Firestones, they'll cut them.
Oh, they're like a sharp knife.
Yep, and Alex Tagliani spun this car around, kept it running, and got it back to the pits on a flat. But my, oh my, that's a big wreck. I should say that I believe that we saw one of the Penske team cars pit just before this caution, which is Briscoe. Everyone else will now pit ahead of him. That's going to give Briscoe the lead.
Yes, it is, and that was lap 32. Take note, he came in at lap 32.
Perfect timing. I mean, you never want to see something like this, but as far as a full course caution, Ryan Briscoe just got a huge bonus.
There is Danica and Rafa Matos. Rafa, of course, the former Firestone Indy Lights driver, moving up to the IndyCar series this year. They're both okay, but Boy, they sure had hard hits.
They did, and I'm a big fan of Rafa. I hate to see him not finish in this race.
And here's another coming together of cars. That's Marias and Muto.
And watch the leader of the race,
Justin Wilson.
Great heads-up driving by Justin. You see him go a little bit to the right and use the brakes. There it is. Look at Justin on the left of your screen.
He was like, I'm going to shoot the gap. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
Heads-up stuff.
Danica and Matos have some words, but obviously there's no hard feelings here.
No, just see them both okay. But, I mean, there's the universal language for a driver talking about what you're doing with the cars, having your hands together there. And you know, Rafa looked down the inside there, and Danica didn't see him, because that's a tough place to get a pass done, Jan, right there.
That was a very, very low percentage place to make a pass.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had a run because of traffic, but that's a very low percentage move.
Absolutely.
That was in turn number 12.
Right there where the Acura bridge is, if you look at that Acura bridge, that's right where the contact was. Rafa, right as they were coming under there, was looking to the inside. Danica didn't know that he was there and just came down.
And it's a 130-mile-an-hour approach into that corner, which is why we saw the kind of wreck we did. Danica Patrick, let's see if Matos gets alongside or not, and no. So that's, in my mind, Rafael Matos' accident. He was the one that did not get. There's no way that Danica could. She would have seen him coming, but he didn't take the position. You have to get all the way alongside somebody to take it. When you're going 130 miles an hour, you got to turn into the corner, and he just didn't have the position in my mind.
I absolutely agree with you. But even if you would have gotten the pass done alongside, where are you going to end up in this fast section of the racetrack? You know, you got to think ahead of where it's going to put you. If he would have gotten alongside her coming into there, Danica would have ended up way out in the marbles there.
Yeah, just not a good place to try, and look at the carnage. Oof. And again, these cars are supposed to do that. The more damage you see on the...
Here comes Danica Patrick, only a few hundred yards away from making history. Danica Patrick will win at Motegi. Unbelievable.
The whole feminine push to things definitely comes at the beginning of February with GoDaddy's Super Bowl commercials.
Danica Patrick.
Suddenly I have the urge to take another shower. I'm with Sports Illustrated with the swimsuit issue, so I'm fortunate to be part of both of those because both of those have enormous audiences. Both of them were fun. I definitely enjoyed the beach a lot, though, just because it made me actually feel like a swimsuit model, which is something I would have never, ever guessed to be in my future. So I'm very familiar with in-studio stuff, but every photographer is different. I really feel like the shots came out very classic and classy. I like being a girl. I like getting made up like that, and just the challenge of getting ready for it, and then the reward of having a good shoot.
Dus is 100 fölfele. 100 fölfele, jobb 2 tempó, 20-ra bal 2 tempó, 25-ra bal 2 tempó, 25-re bal 2 szűk, bal 2 szűk, és bal 2, és bal 2, majd 50-re jobb 2, mint a bal 2, és 50-re jobb 2, jobb 2, majd szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra. Szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra.